What's up, 208? We're back. It is Uno de Juno, and we are live. Justin, good to see you. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots to talk about since last time we were live, but I don't know. Let's get into it. Good evening, Justin. No chance tonight, unfortunately, but we'll catch him next time. But how are you doing, good sir?
It's been good. Just staying busy. Almost done with school. We got about a week left.
Sorry, you're breaking up there just a little bit.
We got a week left of school, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, so you guys still have that one more week of school.
Yeah, right. we started on
All right, right on. Let me see if I can adjust some audio and get echo cancellation. Should be on, and we should be good. Are we still a little bit echoey, or are we good?
It's definitely echoey. It's like repeating. I have no idea what's going
on. On your end or my end?
I think it's your end, but it's like both sides. I don't know what's going on.
Interesting. I hear it's good. Let's see here.
Let's try now.
I mean, now you good?
Nope, still not good. I don't know why I hear both.
Weird. I am not echoey. I hear it good. Well, let's roll with it and we'll see how it goes. Let's jump right into it. We're going to get in a little bit of news like we normally do.
What's going on?
Justin, you got any news for us at all? There's plenty. We're in the dog days of NFL, right? It's first part of summer, and there'll be some news, a little bit of news, but what do you got for us? Oh, he jumped off real quick. I guess I'll cover it for a little bit. Diggs news. You guys have heard Diggs. We've talked plenty about Diggs. Diggs might be. We'll see. I don't know. Patriots might cut him. They might not. Just there he is.
There it is. I fixed it.
All right, good. I was just talking about Diggs a little bit. How the Patriots might cut him. There's plenty of rumors around Diggs being potentially cutting him. I don't. He's a tough one. He's an older player. Yes, I did trade for him in a dynasty league just for a little bit of depth. But I think he's got one more good year in him. But who knows? He might not be with the Patriots.
Yeah, it's tough because he just signed a 3-year, $63 million deal. Dead cap wise, if they cut him right now, it's $16 million. If they cut him next year, it's $8 million. If they cut him the year after that, it's $4 million. It would be hard to just eat $16 million when you signed him. I could see maybe waiting next year and cutting him, but if there was some void in the contract, maybe. But man, that's a lot of money to sign a 32-year-old to and just cut him before the even starts.
Yeah, and maybe they wait a little bit and see what these younger wide receivers look like coming in. I know they're trying to bring in some depth, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe all of a sudden they shine in off season and they're like, you know what, we don't want you. Who knows? But right. I think it's certainly on the table. I tend to agree with you. It might be a little bit that they don't cut him. So what else you got?
The Kyle Pitts stuff, man. We got to talk about it. They said they're engaging some offers. I heard it was the Chiefs and the Steelers, maybe the Dolphins. Like, you guys, I know, like, I'm an Atlanta guy. Like, if we traded Kyle Pitts for a second, I would say whatever. But like, if that was to happen, I would, like, a sneaky guy that I would love to go and get would be Michael Mayer from the Raiders, who's not being used at all, and I feel like he fits our system more. I don't think the tight end will ever be a super main part of our offense because I think Mooney, I think Drake is a top 10 guy. Bijan's a really good running back. He's going to catch a ton of balls, so I don't think Kyle Pitts will ever be that guy.
Yeah, Mooney, like you said, Mooney's in there, and now the rookie Nash, who I kind of like. So you guys have got some weapons. I think they're trying to get the defense fixed, but here nor there, we'll cover that in a different day.
Yep. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. It seems like they've been trying to entertain it for a few days. Seems like Kyle Pitts, Kirk Cousins, both of them get traded. None of them could get traded. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else in the news you want to cover for today, my friend?
Nope, those are the only two things that I got right now.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we're going to get right into our main course here, and we are just talking about the really. Let me pull it up here. I got to roll back here a little bit, and we're going to get right into the AFC North breakdown just for you guys. This division's a very interesting division to me. A lot of uncertainty, except for one team in my mind, and you're going to go for one team, and for three teams uncertain, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So we're going to give you a little bit of breakdown, what we kind of think about each team, and then just kind of give you some flavors of what we were thinking. Again, we know it's early. I said earlier, it's Uno de Juno, first day of June. Lots of things could happen. There's still plenty of opportunities here, but Steelers, Justin, what's your thought on the Steelers coming in post rookie draft? Things
I
are maybe
they're a weird team. They're like the Saints. It feels like what did we do with this team? Like, they don't have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is like playing hard to get. Like, we all know the engine is the quarterback here. I feel like they had a little bit of quarterback purgatory last year with Russell and Justin Fields. I was a big fan of Justin Fields in this offense. I thought he was playing really well. They benched him. They went to Russell. Russell had a decent year. Nothing to shout about. But it just feels like they're going like, hey, we're going to rebuild. Hey, we're going to go for it. Because they trade for DK. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, they drafted a really high running back in Caleb Johnson. I just don't know where they're going to go. Like, they have the New York Jets to start off, then the Seahawks, New England, Minnesota. So not a terribly hard first 4 games. But I don't know what you do with this offense.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I want to talk a little bit about the coach. So Mike Tomlin has never had a below 500 season, and it makes me wonder if this is the year. Right? I think that some of the Steelers fans, what I hear when you on on certain blogs and whatnot, they're tired of Tomlin. They want him to go. He's all good during the regular season and always just fails in the playoffs. And they bring in Arthur Smith last year, and all of us just shake our heads after what he did to Atlanta, being your favorite coach in Atlanta. So I feel like Mike Tomlin's in a little bit of a hot seat this year. They get rid of Pickens, right? As you stated, they bring in DK. We don't know who their thrower is, right? Who the QB is. What the heck? What are we doing? So I don't know. Right now it's Mason Rudolph's your guy and Will Howard. So I'm projecting you. I might be wrong. I think they're less than 500 this year. I think there's a very good chance. So
they're projected at 7.9 right now, which again, they don't have a quarterback. And even if Aaron Rodgers does come in, let's say tomorrow, say Monday, like, he still missed a ton of stuff. He didn't look that great with the Jets anyway. So I don't know. It's a weird situation.
For sure. Let me pull up just kind of our players. Again, this is from our friends over at Fantasy Pros, their projections, what we're going off of here. So I have Rudolph and Howard in the quarterback spot. We don't know if they're going to bring another in. Aaron Rodgers, who knows, which I just wish he would retire. Love Aaron Rodgers. Man, he did it for a long time, but my goodness, hang it up. Go open up your own podcast and just do your thing, because you get a ton of followers, Mr. Rodgers. So please do that. Again, your position rank for Rudolph and Howard at 30s and 40s, don't care. And their ADPs are who cares right now. The only one on here that I guess there's 2 maybe is DK, because he's probably going to get all the targets. 5th round. Okay. Depending on who comes in, who's going to be the quarterback. And I'm really intrigued by Caleb Johnson in the 6th round, because I do think their offensive line's gotten a little bit better, and I do think they're going to run the ball in a 2-headed monster. That's just what we see with Arthur Smith, with Warren and Caleb. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Caleb Johnson's always a hard one for me. I loved him at Iowa. Then he had some metrics that I didn't really love, like his 10-yard split is not elite by any means. He broke a ton of tackles in college. He was very similar to Genty in that way, where his contact balance is kind of crazy. He is definitely a build-up speed kind of guy. I don't think he's slow, which is probably the knock on him after the combine a little bit. Right now, he's projected at 948, 950 yards, 7 touchdowns. So, like, a pretty good year. If you trust that offense, they've invested a lot in their O-line the past couple of years. one sneaky guy that isn't on here that I think me and Matt talked a lot about last year was Roman Wilson. And I think Roman Wilson is going to get a shot to play in that 2 role. I know they have Calvin Austin, they have Robert Woods, they have Scotty Miller, but I think they're going to give Roman Wilson a shot to play off a DK a little bit. He's a little bit smaller receiver. He played at Michigan. Just a really good receiver in college, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets some push there.
Yeah, and again, dirt cheap, unknown. Nobody's picking up because he didn't do anything last year. So I certainly agree. I do want to spend a little bit of time on DK because he's how old is he? 20. He's 27 right now. He doesn't turn 28 until December. Last year's stats, he had 108 targets, 66 receptions, 5 TDs, and just shy of a little helper, just shy of 1,000 yards. He is going to be the guy. They are going to just throw him the ball nonstop. I mean, I think he should get probably more into the 130s, 140 range again in targets, I would imagine. Unless, right, they becoming a running team. And I'm going to pause here just because you talked about Caleb a little bit. The Steelers were the only place that I wanted Caleb Johnson to go because he fits who they are.
Gotcha.
I was like, that makes a ton of sense. But I think they're going to be playing from behind and they're going to have to throw the ball. And DK is going to get an absolute ton of target share. So at that level right now in the 5th round, depending on how you construct your team, and we are running back heavy, which we'll talk about in another show, it's harder to get elite wide receivers this year than running backs. And that's not always been the case. So keep in mind as you kind of construct your teams this year. So anyway, thoughts on DK?
Yeah, DK's a tough one. His targets this was the lowest targets he's ever had in his career was 100. Before that was his rookie year at 108. I think JSN really had something to say about that with him just getting peppered at the end of the year. I think this last 7 games JSN was just getting targeted like crazy. Again, I'm not a huge fan of DK in this situation because of the quarterback situation. Is if they bring Aaron Rodgers in, it's going to get, I feel like a lot of drama will come with them and it'll hurt that situation. DK's never been a huge PPR guy. He's definitely been like a more standard wide receiver where he's going to score touchdowns and he's probably going to catch maybe 3 to 5 balls a game. And I don't know. That's probably not the guy that I would take a shot on. One thing I want to pivot back to is kind of one of my hot takes that I think will happen. I think Will Howard's going to start at least 6 games in this offense.
I like it.
I think they're going to try and see what they have with him. He's got a lot of good intangibles. His Gruden QB camp was really good. He just seems like a really good leader.
And I know there's been some discussion because his size profile, 6'4", 235. Who was that big? Roethlisberger, right? Right there, they had Roethlisberger, so they're like, can lightning strike twice? I don't know. We'll see, but it is kind of fun just to throw that out there.
Correct.
Going from the Steelers onto a more stable team, which is the Bengals. I want to talk about the Bengals just a little bit. Tons of uncertainty. Were they going to get Chase back? Could they extend him? Were they going to be able to keep Higgins? Right? Did they have enough money to do it? And they made it all work. Right? They didn't lose a whole lot. I think they lost 1 offensive lineman, if I'm not mistaken. And really just all their draft capital went into defense. So this team bringing everybody back with a little bit of upgrade in their defense is an absolute Super Bowl contender. They have all the right dudes to do it. I can see them easily winning this division and giving KC a run for their money. So
a few things. So they drafted Dylan Fairchild, who's from Georgia, I believe, in the 3rd round. They have Orlando Brown, Ted Karras. Brought in a UFA, not a UFA, just a free agent in Lucas Patrick from New Orleans. And they have Cody Ford there at right guard. Amarius Mims last year was a Georgia guy, huge right tackle. So their right tackle, their left tackle are just huge human beings. What's up, Matt?
No, go ahead.
So if you're going to invest in a team pretty heavily, I feel like it has to be this team because they're going to throw the ball probably 70% of the time. I feel like that's what they're going to have to do. Their defense is really struggling. I don't know if Trey Hendrickson's going to want to play for this team, it seems like, and he's probably their best defensive guy, which is really, really tough. Their secondary is a jigsaw puzzle where I don't know where they're going to put half of these guys. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of these guys are, like, hybrid nickel guys, like DJ Turner, Dax Hill. They're supposed to be, like, a hybrid nickel safety. They're not a true outside corner. I don't know if they have a true outside corner on this team besides Cam Taylor-Britt. That's really tough. I feel like every game that they are going to go into, Joe Burrow is going to have to score 35 points. And that's what you want in fantasy. Not necessarily as a fan of the Bengals, but.
Yep, that's the old saying goes, you know, their offense scores 49, but we scored 50, so we get the win. So it doesn't matter, right? That's just is that they are definitely set up that way. Feels like the Chiefs might be kind of set up that way this year, but we'll talk about them later. Moving on to their players, let's talk about it. Joe Burrow, easy third round pick. So I've seen him actually drop into the fifth round in some drafts. So again, if you're looking for that early quarterback, you cannot go wrong with Joe Burrow. Chase Brown, and I didn't list all the running backs, but you have Chase Brown, who came on strong last year. He was phenomenal. Also on there is Zach Moss and Samaje Perine, but they did draft Brooks, and I put Brooks on him for a reason. And he is right now in a lot of places not getting drafted. But Justin, I know you're super high on him. I'm gonna let you catch up on him here.
So I think the biggest thing that tells me, hey, they're probably gonna pivot from this is Zach Moss, like, literally said, hey, we're gonna cut you unless we figure something out. So they restructured his whole contract. I remember last year he got a decent paycheck last year about coming to the Bengals, and we thought he was gonna be the guy, and it just didn't work out. So I mean, Taj Brooks, he's 5'9", 230. Like, he's a big dude. So he takes over either one of those roles, whether that's Perine. I feel like they brought in Perine to be more of the pass protector. It seems like that was his only role, and catch some balls. Maybe Taj Brooks takes a little bit out of that from Texas Tech, probably catching about a bunch of balls if you know anything about Texas Tech football. I could see both Zach Moss and Perine get cut, maybe Zach Moss and then bring in Taj Brooks up. I just think he has a chance to take it, and Chase Brown's really high for me this year as well.
Yeah, and I am a big Chase Brown guy. However, he is being drafted in the second round, and in my opinion, that's too high. That is too high for a Chase Brown pick, so keep that in mind. Just because we love him doesn't mean say go get him in the second round, which we see him in. If he falls closer to the end of the second or end of third, depending on what you do with your first pick, I'm okay with it. But Chase Brown really came on strong last year, and he was so much fun to watch, and he carried a lot of teams. He averaged, gosh dang, he only had 7 touchdowns, but had just under 1,000 rushing yards, and he did have 54 receptions for 360 yards and four TDs. So he was definitely getting in the passing game too. So Chase Brown is a guy you're looking for, but you have to back him up with Brooks. Yes, sir.
On the dynasty part of it with Chase Brown, this is totally how I feel. Any running backs that are drafted like 4th round and below, like, if they have a really good year, I'm probably going to get off of them right now. Like, Dameon Pierce was that way with me. There was a guy in Jacksonville that was that way with me. I can't remember his name. But late round running backs just don't last. Like, Kyron Williams has scared a ton of people this year because they don't feel like he's going to get a second contract. So, like, if you feel like you can go get somebody different than Chase Brown and maybe get an upgrade or something, or pair them together and go get something, and you're a rebuilding team, I strongly suggest to do it. If you're on a win now team, like, you just need to ride him out.
Yeah. In redraft, second round, I'm not taking him in second round. I can get Breece Hall in the 4th, right? I'm like, I'll do that. So, but definitely love Chase Brown. If he falls in your draft, scoop him up. Don't reach for him, which we're seeing right now. The wide receiver group for the Bengals is we talk about it. It's kind of ridiculous. Jamar Chase is easily going 101, 112, or 13. If you have that, I have no problems with you taking him there. It's self-explanatory. He's going to get a ton of work, and they really tried hard to keep this group together, which we just mentioned a little bit ago, just signing everybody. T. Higgins is the one that I feel is like, wow, he finished 14th last year amongst wide receivers, and that's really where he is right now. And I'm like, feels a little bit high to me going into in the second round. So I'm like, actually be third round. But I'm like, there's other guys I like better than T. Higgins in that area, but he's getting a lot of hype, and rightfully so.
Yeah, that's totally fair. T. Higgins, I feel like, is never going to be a wide receiver one. It's just something weird. I really wish last offseason he would have went to Carolina, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think he'll always be a solid wide receiver, just never that upper echelon guy, which that's always what you're chasing, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And I would rather have a DK than T. Higgins in a later round. So keep that in your mind. Yoshi, I put in there. He's really undraftable. Mike Gesicki's still around, and he's really all they have at the tight end right now. Eric All, ACL, he's done. He won't be back. So it's like, there's really not anybody else. And he was kind of a running joke last year. He was our he's still around. And he did all right. So super late flyer if you need him.
How do you feel about Burton? Do you have any thoughts on him?
You can get him for free. I think we had so much hype on him last year, and we liked him, and we were very hopeful. And he never really did anything. I think he only had, let me pull him up real fast, not very many catches. And I think he was kind of on the crud list. Yeah, 14 targets for 100 yards, and that was it.
He's definitely
so right now he's he's undraftable to me. So
nice. Okay.
Moving on to another interesting team that we like a lot, the Ravens, and I believe Justin and I both agree that they're going to be a contender. The $1 million question, the ageless wonder of Derrick Henry. What is going to happen with him? He did so well for them last year, or since he's been with them, but can he do it another year? Justin, your thoughts on Henry and what their record is going to be next year?
So in one of our dynasty leagues, I went out and got Derrick Henry because I was like, I'm gonna go for it this year. I'm just gonna ride until the wheels come off. He is such an anomaly. It is absolutely nuts that he's still doing what he is doing. He's projected to have 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. And they didn't add anybody to the running back room. It's still Keith Mitchell. Yeah. They added Rasheem Ali last year. Patrick Ricard is a fullback. There's nobody else. We thought either Lamar was going to suffer from rushing or Derrick was going to suffer from rushing, and neither of them did. So I think you just ride it. He's an alien. I don't know what else to say. He is a different dude.
There'll be a double-digit win team again this year. They'll be up there. Fantasy I don't know. If you're fantasy guys, we'll talk about it right now, I guess. We'll jump into it. But Lamar Jackson, he is right now number 2 quarterback, going 19. He's a second rounder. Again, I'm not a big second round quarterback guy. I tend to wait a little bit, but certainly he's going to be up there again. And it would not surprise me at all if he's in the MVP race again. So you can't go wrong with him. Derrick Henry, based on what he did last year, he's position ranked 5. And if your league, it depends on what your league does, but right now he's going in the first round. I don't want Derrick Henry in the first round. I think there's other players I'd rather have. However, people want him. I don't know, Justin, would you take him in round
1? Probably not. If I was at the turn, maybe. If I was on that back end, if I was at 12, if I was at 112 and that 201 pick, maybe I would do that just to stack it. It depends on the construction of the roster, on who falls to me, who doesn't. There are definitely some better targets there, I feel like.
So I'm just going to give you stats here just based on carries, not receptions, because he doesn't get a lot of receptions per se. Nothing crazy. Since 2020, here are his carries: 378, 219, 349, 280, and last year with 325. That's a massive amount of carries for a running back. And again, he came back in 2016 where he didn't do a whole lot in 16, 17, but he's up there in touches, which is crazy. He did have his most was 33 receptions a couple years ago. He had 19 last year, nothing crazy. Did have 16 touchdowns last year, 12 the year before, 13 the year before that. So just seems to get it done year in and year out, and we just keep waiting for the wheels to fall off on these running on him, and he just doesn't do it. He's just a machine. He's Derrick Henry, the machine. So I don't know. Everybody in the industry is going, is this the year? Is this the year? Is this the year? And there will be plenty of people that he'll get drafted in round one by, garage league, farm leagues, or, grandma leagues, whatever. But just be cautious. But I'm not going to fault you if you like him.
Would you rather have him or Christian McCaffrey?
Oh, I'll take Henry. I don't want.
Really?
I want. Yes.
Wow.
I'll go with. Here's why I say. Here's why. Because I'm just going to go off of history. Right? They're both older, and Christian just, gosh dang, he gets so beat up, and Henry just seems to keep moving forward. So I'm fading Christian McCaffrey. Now, it doesn't mean that when I say I'm fading someone, and you do this too, I think it's good to bring this up. There is a line that's drawn. If they drop far enough, we'll take them. So when Justin and I say we're fading them at their current ADP, current round. But if Derrick Henry fell to late second round, third round, yeah, I'll take him for sure. I'll take him there. But in the first round, I'm not going to take him. So keep in mind. The passing game. You want to talk a little about the passing game, Justin, for
these wide receivers,
the Ravens?
Man. Okay, so Zay Flowers had a halfway decent year. Bateman, I'm totally out on, and I think Hopkins has got a chance. Like that, this is my bold take with the Ravens. I think Hopkins leads this room. I don't know why I feel that way. I'm usually super out on old wide receivers. I think Hopkins and Lamar Jackson fit really, really well together. It feels like all these wide receivers do the same exact thing, with Hopkins just being substantially bigger than the other two, where he can maybe
older.
Yeah, super older. But he can get those contested catches a little bit better, I feel like. It'll be interesting to see what he does in this room. Zay Flowers, again, had a decent year. Again, I don't think he'll ever be top 12 guy consistently, but he catches the ball a lot. He is super dynamic in the open field as well.
Yeah, I was Bateman had a pretty good in the playoffs against Buffalo. He was 5 targets, 4 for 66 yards and a touchdown. He's just so streaky. He sneakily had 9 touchdowns last year, but just less than 800 yards on receiving. It's just what you're going to get with the Ravens. You're not going to get that alpha wide receiver. It's just not going to happen. Could they be wide receiver 3s? I think all 3 could, but I don't. Outside of that, I'm not taking them super high. Zay Flowers is probably a bit high. I'm probably taking running back in the 5th round, to be honest, and not a wide receiver there. So there's other guys I'd rather have. If you want late flyers with Bateman and Hopkins, I'm cool with that too. So anything to add?
Yeah, again, Zay Flowers had 116 targets. Again, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of attempts by Lamar. 457 total. Again, 318 completions. If I'm gonna bet on somebody catch a ton of balls in this offense, I'm just gonna go with Hopkins because I'm gonna get him basically for free.
Yep. Moving to the tight ends, Old Man Andrews and Likely. I did put Likely in there, and Justin and I talked a little bit about this before the show. I think we both really like Likely. He's essentially free, and I think they're going to get him more involved. He's the healthier of the two. He's made some plays that I've really liked the last couple of years. They just haven't utilized him a ton. Let me pull up his stats real quick, just because I remember off the top of my head.
Could we just talk about Mark Andrews real quick? I'll talk about him.
Yes, you bet.
Like, he killed me the first of the year. Like, absolutely ruined me. The only reason he was relevant is because of touchdowns. He did not have a single game over 70 yards this year. A single game over 70. He had 2 goose eggs where he didn't catch a ball. It had 0 yards. Like, he killed you in the playoff. Like, he killed you at the beginning of the year. He really came on at the very end, scoring touchdowns in his last 6 games. That's the only reason he was relevant. irrelevant at all. Like it was kind of sad to see the demise of Mark Andrews because he's been so consistent, and he doesn't feel super old because he's 29, 30, I believe. But I feel like Likely's like nipping right at his heels. Like eventually they just got to cut that kid loose.
Yeah, Likely he's 6'4", 247. He's only 25 years old. I just turned 25. And we had high hopes for him. So the very first game against the Chiefs, 9 catches on 12 targets for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. We were like, whoa, right? Likely coming on strong. And then he kind of fizzled a little bit. 2s and 3s catches. He did have a game against Pitt where he caught 4 for 5 for 75 yards. And then really nothing after that until he played Buffalo, and he caught 4 for 5, 73 yards and a touchdown in the divisional playoff game. So I think they like him. I just don't think they utilized him enough throughout the season. And he's so dirt cheap. You can just pick him up. If you're needing that second tight end, I would do that in a heartbeat. I think it's totally worth it. Browns. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
I told Justin this before we started. I felt like the poorest city of Cleveland. I'm sorry, guys. But it feels like they took a snow globe, with a little city in it, and they grabbed it and they just shook it all up and just waiting for things to fall to come together. I really don't know what's going on with the Browns. I think they've got a talented roster, but we're trying to just wait for things to pencil out. Justin, you have predictions for them of kind of least what they might end up?
Record-wise?
Yeah.
I think they're going to win maybe 2 games. I think it was all the Jaguars draft, them coming up and just a little bit selling the farm a little bit to come up with the Browns. They get an extra first. Are the Jags going to be good? I don't know. This QB class coming in is supposed to be good, even though I don't think Arch Manning comes out this year. It feels like they're kind of sell a little bit. The Myles Garrett thing was really weird. Myles Garrett's in Japan right now. He's not even at training camp. Like, how serious is this team about winning? Like, if you look at their quarterbacks right now, this is something I talk about with our football coaches at Rigby. And I'm just like, who do you cut in this quarterback group? You can't cut Deshaun. You just drafted 2 guys with a 5th and a 3rd. You just signed Kenny Pickett to a $10 billion deal, and you signed Joe Flacco. So I realistically don't know what they're doing right now.
I agree. And, so just looking it up real quick, they are currently, right now as we speak, the highest percentage to get the number 1 overall pick for 2026. They were 3-14 team last year. I'm kind of thinking they might be in the same boat. We might see that again. It's just crazy to me. I don't know. They're going to be probably behind a ton and trying to throw it everywhere. And then the team's going to get frustrated again. So, and then, they had the high draft pick, and then they're going to go Shadir Sanders, and that's what it's going to be. And then Shadir falls all the way into oblivion, and they still end up with him, but they draft Gabriel before him. And you're just like, wait, what? And it just everybody shaking their head. So let's jump into the players here, because this was just fascinating to me. Right now, you have Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is probably he's easily the most experienced and definitely the most successful sitting on the team. He just happens to be 107 years old. He's 40 years old. He just turned 40 first of the year. But right now, he seems to be leading. Somebody asked him the other day if he's there to mentor, and he's like, no, I'm here to play. I'm not mentoring anybody. I'll lead by example. So he's not there to mentor. He's there to play ball.
Right.
So then they go and draft, or they sign Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett hasn't done anything, been to a couple teams already. He was taken by Steelers a few years ago. Then they grab Gabriel. And then they take Shadir Sanders. So they have 2 rookies, a backup quarterback, and an old man. And you can see where their ADPs and their draft positioning and their position rank, like they don't. Okay, who's going to win this? I mean, I've heard multiple things they want to cut. Just again, very very high level. Nobody's told me this. Just kind of rumors that Sanders might get cut, Gabriel might get cut. Flacco seems to be the starter. Sanders is picking it up. He might be the starter. Pickett seems to be the guy. There is no rhyme or reason to anything I read or hear or nothing. I'm like, I don't know. This is nuts. So they're in a little bit of turmoil. They're in a little bit of, okay, I think you're right. Let's draft another quarterback in 2026, I guess. So I'm staying away from this entire situation for QBs.
100%. I think, like, if you were to ask me right now who I think is their opening day guy, I think it's Pickett. I think Flacco ends up getting cut, is my guess, and they have those two rookies sit behind him, and they see what they have there. And if it's crap, it's crap. And you know what? You have the number one overall pick. I think there's two really, really bad teams in the NFL, and it's them and the Saints. Just because, again, they don't have a quarterback. We'll see what happens. I think Stefanski is a really, really good coach. I think that Deshaun Watson just killed their future. So, like, they're still hanging on to this contract. I'm not sure when they can get out of it, if it's next year or the year after, because it's all guaranteed. They have to sit on it. It's just hard. This offense is gonna be tough to watch.
Yeah, it is the gift that keeps on giving for sure. So with that contract. So to make things a little bit even more interesting, going through the quarterback, then they come out and get two running backs. So they had Jerome Ford, who was pretty good. I thought he's done well. He's a little injury prone, but then they come out and get Judkins and Sampson. You're like, okay, I think this is closer running back room than what people think it is. Judkins is easy. They picked him first. I get that. He's currently position 26. You pick him up in the 6th round. And they do have a pretty decent offensive line. I'll give him that. But I think Sampson is good too. I don't know. Justin, your thoughts on that?
Jerome Ford had a really good year last year. I mean, he averaged 5.4 yards a carry. He only had 104 carries, though. I wish they would have gave him more of a chance. I think Judkins is a freak. He is switched up, ready to go. The Sampson pick, I don't know. Again, I don't know what Cleveland's doing, but I think both those guys are decent. I think they got 3 running backs. I mean, they should just run wishbone. Like, I just run it a bunch of times, but that's not going to happen. I think Judkins will have a halfway decent year. It'll be interesting to see how much push he gets. Right now, he's projected to have 211 carries, 922 yards, 6 touchdowns, 52 targets, 40 receptions, 285 yards, and I think you'd take that from a rookie. So.
Yeah, and Judkins can catch the ball in the backfield. You know, I'm trying to think, okay, rushing, there's one way. Catching the ball, but that's what Sampson is. He's that type of a running back. Do they try to put him in the slot? Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I think there's opportunity, but Judkins is probably the guy I would lean into, and Sampson is one I'm intrigued on. I just don't know. It's going to be hard. Do they run him back by committee? Oh, I don't know. Again, shaking up that snow globe. Wide receivers. So Judy's still leading it. And they didn't do anything. They didn't really grab anybody, wide receivers, at least anybody relevant. It's still Judy, Tillman, and I guess they got Deontay Johnson, who's older and kind of fizzled out.
Five.
Well, and he's a volume guy. He needs lots of volume. He needs volume to be fantasy relevant, and he's not going to get it here either. So he's 28 years old, but Judy still's got gas in the tank. Tillman coming off was it concussions last year?
Something like that. I can't remember.
He was injured. Pretty sure it was concussions. So he was having a very good season too. I think early on, if I remember, before he got hurt.
Yep.
I guess halfway through, he was getting 12, 9, 11 targets.
I know he had a really big stretch where he had 11 for 75, 9 for 99, 12 for 81. It was just a really big stretch. And he got concussions for 3 straight games.
Yep, and then he was done. So I don't know. Again, I'm gonna like a lot of teams in this division. I think they're gonna be throwing the ball a lot just to trying to stay in games. So maybe Judy is a number 3. The other 2 I don't really want. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody you want out of there. I don't even know if I'd want Judy out of a 6th round pick, to be honest.
The 6 is a little rich. I don't think he'll go that high in redraft at least. But man, he had a really good season. 90 receptions. He was 145 targets, 1,200 yards. The touchdowns, again, hopefully he can score a little bit more. But 4 touchdowns. But man, he had some he had a 235-yard game, 142-yard game. Like, he had some really big booms. Like, best ball would be really good for him when they start throwing the ball around. You got to remember, he was playing with Deshaun Watson. He was playing with Jameis. He was playing with DTR. So he had a lot of different guys throwing him the ball.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I wish he was on another team. I really do. He's only 26 years old. He just turned 26 in April. So I was like, oh, but it is what it is. We do have Njoku on here as far as the tight end. He's not really the one that I want to talk about too much. He's not. He does okay. He just can't stay healthy. But the guy that I'm interested in has happened. I think it's Justin's guy. You want to talk about him real quick, Justin?
Good old Fannin, Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. Can you look up his ridiculous college stats? He had like 140 catches, something crazy. But I'm pretty sure he led the country. Maybe it was. I think Nick Nash got the Triple Crown this year, but Harold Fannin was second in receptions. Just an exorbitant amount. He's not super big. I think he's 6'3", like 220, 230. Like, he's not a big tight end, but you don't accidentally catch that many balls in college. Like, even at Bowling Green, I get it. Very small college. In the MAC, I think, or the CUSA. But, I mean, he's got a shot. Njoku's 30. Maybe we see a big exodus, a big trade exodus, such as Jerry Jeudy gets traded, and Njoku gets traded to a contender, and Harold Fannin gets a shot. Let's just see what we got. So he's a guy. Maybe later on in the season we could see get some push with the Browns.
I'm just trying to pull up his stats, but they were actually really, really good. So just again, a game against Penn State, 137 yards. Texas A&M, 145 yards. Against Old Dominion, 195 yards. Just trying to against Kent State, 175. Western Michigan was 137. Ball State, 125. And against Arkansas State, 213. So massive yards. Just getting and it wasn't, he's getting a lot of targets between 8 and 9. That 213 game, he actually had 17 receptions for 213. So they were just feeding him the ball. It was just crazy.
He had 117 receptions for 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. He averaged 120 yards a game.
Yeah, which is crazy. So, I don't care what level you're playing at. That is something to kind of keep an eye on. Yeah, so just got to keep it alive. And he is definitely a late flyer for sure. So, I'm just going to pull it back to the very front here, Justin. That's kind of our breakdown for the AFC North. I don't want to say final thoughts or anything like that, but we can certainly talk about some projections. So maybe for some bold predictions in this conference. But this conference just seems messy to me from a fantasy standpoint, with the exception of the Bengals. Everything else is good. You like it. Baltimore is at least a little more stable, but when you see the Browns and Steelers, you're just like, I'd like to stay away from them as much as possible. I guess where I can, and just pick and choose some players.
Yeah, those teams are really similar, the Browns and the Steelers, where there's not a lot of stability on offense, but both those defenses should be really, really, really good. They both got some dudes on both sides of the ball. The Bengals are super traditional. Like, who their 1 and their 2 is. You know who their starting running back is. You know what Joe Burrow is. I think Joe Burrow has a real shot at the MVP this year. I think he's going to finish as a top 3 quarterback. He is so good at football. It is scary.
I 100% agree. Right now, again, we talked about earlier, but quarterbacks above him we have listed as Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. I think he has every bit of being in that top 3. Easy. He is a 1 to 3 quarterback to me. He'll certainly finish better than Hurts, I believe. But he is in the mix with the other 3 for sure, with Daniels, Jackson, and Allen. So I'm not as high on Daniels as some. I feel like there's a sophomore slump coming. Just kind of maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, not like crazy, but like he's going to regress a little bit. Like, people have a year of film on him. They added Debo. I get that. Like, when we do the NFC East preview, we'll get to that and talk about a few things that they did different. But there's just more film on him. That's the thing. With other quarterbacks, I think Bo Nix maybe takes a step back. I think Caleb Williams takes a step forward. The stuff coming out with Chicago is absolutely absurd. What they were doing with Caleb, which is it just baffles me.
And we're gonna talk about that in another breakdown for sure. But it's pretty wild. More to come on these teams. Again, we don't know who the quarterbacks will be for the Steelers. Browns, we just need things to fall in place a little bit. They're in the same boat. But the other two, we'll see how it goes. Justin, anything else before we sign off, man? I think we've kind of covered it. We're at 45 minutes. Had a good night. Any other bold predictions or anything you think of for this group?
That's my bold predictions. Again, I said Hopkins would lead that room in Baltimore. Taj Brooks, I think he's really going to be that second fiddle to Chase Brown. If Chase Brown gets hurt, maybe he gets some push. I think Will Howard's going to start some games. I think the Browns are going to start at least 6 quarterbacks this year. At least 6 different quarterbacks. That's just my belief.
That's a pretty good bet.
I think the Bengals win this division. I just got a weird feeling that I don't know. Joe Burrow's that guy. Jamar Chase is the scariest receiver in football. I'm pretty adamant about that he is a different cat.
It is I like that prediction for sure. Very, very much so. This division, there's nothing that's gonna surprise me. Like, you're right, the six quarterback starts here. Gosh, you might have 4 start for Steelers. Who knows? It would not surprise me if Howard ends up being the starting quarterback earlier for the Steelers. Who knows? But I agree with you that the Bengals are going to win this division.
If Kirk Cousins got traded to the Steelers, would that up anybody's production in your eyes? Would that make you pumped about DK? Would that make you excited about Caleb Johnson?
Let me ask before I answer that question. Do you think Kirk Cousins wants to go to the Steelers and be paired again with your old coach?
Well, he never got paired with Arthur. So I think Kirk's best fit is in Cleveland. Because Kevin Stefanski was his OC for a long time in Minnesota. Yeah. I think that's the best fit. There's 3 teams that Kirk can get traded to if someone just eats his cap. So this June 1st day is really big. So today is big. Again, not a lot of NFL stuff's going to happen on a Sunday. That's just not how things work out. So the big June 1st date, so like post cuts or like trade things, those are always in contracts. So it'll be interesting to see if someone comes out. But I don't think they're going to trade it to the States because I don't think they trade him in division. So I think there's not a lot of teams that you could trade to. I think, again, the Steelers could be an option if Aaron Rodgers does retire. I think Cleveland could be an option. Give Shador, give Dylan Gabriel some time, and Stefanski some familiarity with Kirk Cousins. He doesn't have to learn a new offense. He's already been in it before. I don't think it costs a lot, as well as Jalen Ramsey could get traded as well. Like, how many of these dominoes are going to fall into play with these various veterans that, again, these teams don't want to pay these huge bonuses to? They don't want to eat this huge cap. So, again, tomorrow could be a really big news day for the NFL.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. Again, we're in the, like I said, dog days of summer in the NFL. Lots of things could happen. I don't know. I don't know if what they do with Kurt. I don't know. I don't know what he wants. He was so big on going to Atlanta. It was all like Atlanta this, Atlanta that. This is where we want to be. And then just a short turnaround time. So I don't know. If you're Atlanta, do you just hold him? Is he mad because he's sitting now behind Penix? I don't know.
I feel like you got to open up that money a little bit. I feel like he is. Not that he's a bad dude or anything, but like it is kind of a distraction. It feels like. Same with Pitts. I feel like it's kind of a distraction. Like you want the guys to be there. You want guys that want to be on the team, and that's really important. But I think trading him is good for the franchise. Again, they're not going to give him away, which I appreciate. Like let's get some picks out of this. Like let's have somebody eat some cap. If he went to the Browns, I would draft Judy in the 6th round. He would fly up, just in my opinion, because I think he would pepper Judy.
Yeah, Browns never do anything that makes sense most of the time.
That's true.
So I don't. Or does Cousins just sit and wait until there's an injury?
Yeah, that maybe be a big thing too. Yep.
Maybe something like Vegas or something like that. Who knows?
Yep.
Who knows? Lots and lots to discuss here. So, but I don't know. Justin, I think that's a wrap for tonight, man. We covered the AFC North. It's about as straightforward as far as records are going to go, but as complicated as it can get as far as settling in. It's to be expected. We're early. We will try to come to you guys. What are we thinking, Justin? Next week sometime? It could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in there as we'll be back. But
sir.
Love having you guys on. Again, we are here to help you win your leagues. We did pretty well last year for picking some people, and there were some people we missed on too. So we will try to do some more shorts for you, 15-minute, 5-minute ones, where myself or Justin or Chance will kind of do a breakdown like we did last year. We had some requests for that. But hey, hit that like button, subscribe, join us, come on in and man, ask questions. We love questions. In addition to, we like it. We learn from you guys as much as we learn from each other. Like sometimes you guys come up with some very interesting stuff. So we love it. So any final words, Justin, before we sign up?
Nope. If you have a first round pick, or when you're in the first round and Jamar Chase is there, take him. Don't even think about it. He's that guy.
Yep. I agree. Smashed it. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon.